I am in love. I think this is so dope. I am in love. I think this is so dope.
What?
I am in love.
What?
I think this is so
What?
dope. I am in love. I think this is so dope.
What?
I am in
What?
love.
What?
I think this is so
What?
dope. I am in love.
To that bad boy right there.
I am in love.
To that bad boy right there.
I am in
What?
love.
What?
I think this is so
What?
dope.
What?
I am in
What?
love.
To that bad boy right there.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Tabletalk podcast. This is not the second time we've done this, we promise.
My
cheers to
internet's
you.
fine.
Everything's fine, and we never have to do things over again.
If you're watching
we're-
this VOD, can we talk about Mason's cup real quick?
How it's a beer mug from Target that you can buy in a pack of 4.
That is nuts. That's a gallon at least. That's a half gallon. That's a half gallon.
It's a good drinker.
and like a real one, he filled it with ice water.
Yep.
Right. There you go.
Hey, everybody. I am one of the 3 wizards of the West Michigan coast that is the Tabletalk
baby.
podcast.
Good change up.
We got 2 boys on the north side, me on the west side of Michigan, and my name is Nate. You can find me, Natey Porty, on the gram. I am IDaLegend217 on Xbox. Natey Porty is also my handle, like, in a lot of places. So, like, MTG Arena, Be Real, that's just where it's at. So, look me up if you would like to see what I post about in my personal time, or play video games, or beat me in Magic, because I'm not good. I just have fun. I'm joined by, like I said, the 2 other wizards of our coast here. Mr. Jerad, the Daddy Clark.
What up? What up? What up? Hey guys, it's Jerad. Excited to be here with my boys tonight. You can follow me on PlayStation at BigOunce_93 or at Jerad_Clark30 on Instagram and all that junk. I think my nerdy thing I did this week, I started Game of Thrones, and I'm kind of regretting it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got 2 episodes into season 1. And it was just uncomfortable, man. Like, it's just like, yo, I don't know how this was on TV. And so I watched, it's true. I watched like a 25-minute recap just so I can get through it because it was uncomfortable. And then I went and started watching season 2, did the same thing, recap. And I was like, season 3, okay, this is kind of doable. And then I'm going to be honest with you, I just started watching lore videos on YouTube because I think it's just really cool, like the lore behind it rather than the show. I think there's some cool moments in the show. There's dragons and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to finish it. All those Game of Thrones fans out there, no offense to you. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings stan, and I know it's got Lord of the Rings vibes to it. I just was like, I think there's some things in there that I'm not fond of, personally. But other than that, the most nerdy thing I've done is making a Boros Spellslinger's commander deck.
Yikes.
You see, like,
What does Boros mean, Jared?
red and white in Commander, which is a 100-card singleton format in MTG, which is one of my favorite. I used to not like it, and I used to wish I didn't play it, and I was like, I don't want to play it. And then I got bit by the bug about 3 months ago, and I have not been able to stop. I just bought a camera bag so I can get all my decks in there. That's where it's at. Stop trying to buy deck holders and things like that. Camera gear bags, they're a little more expensive, but they'll keep your stuff safe. Boros Spellslinger, okay? I'm a little Timmy guy, okay? What I mean by little Timmy, for those who don't know MTG slang, is that little Timmy they just wants to ramp, play big, cast massive bombs and big creatures and swing and hit face. That's me as a player. I'll admit it. Casting bombs.
I'll break that down. He wants to play big spells that cost a lot of mana, that do a lot of damage or have a big trigger to them.
Yes.
And he wants to swing at face, which means he wants to do that damage to you directly with spells or with creatures.
Just creatures, really.
He wants to hurt you emotionally.
I want to physically beat the crap out of you with cards.
Yes.
And I'm switching up the pattern. I'm doing I'll do this really quick. The Fire Song and Sunspeaker. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's 4 and a red and a white. It's a 4/6 Minotaur Cleric, and it says this. Let me read this to you. Red instants and sorcery spells you control have lifelink.
Oh my gosh.
one more thing.
Oh,
Whenever
hold
you
on.
cast, oh, my boy's moving. Uh, Porter's going to get something. Whenever white instance or sorcery spell, yes, exactly. Porter's went and grabbed his copy. Play this
I
deck.
just pulled this week, and I was
It's
like, "Oh, that's fun."
broken, my
Hold on.
dude. Okay, let me finish this. White instant and sorcery spells you cast that cause you to gain life. Fire Song and Sunspeak deal 3 damage to target creature or player. And so my whole build around this deck is casting big red X spells. So like Earthquake, Fireball, like
I got Lightning Helix here in a stack. Lonesome
He's
Unicorn.
away. It's broken. So basically that and casting multicolored instant sorcery. So I'm making a Spellslinger's deck.
That's awesome.
It's out of my comfort zone, but I've been doing that more lately as a person. So that is me as my week in nerdom. I'm gonna hand it off to my boy on my screen. He's directly to my left. The thickness, Mason.
Let's go.
Yo, what up, gang, crew, squad, tabletop boys?
What up, table fam?
My
What
name
up, Tables?
is Mason Sayer, and I am here to party.
Let's go.
I don't know. I was so awkward
Going
at
to the
that.
hot rod line where you're like, I know for a fact you don't party.
Yeah, I know for a fact that you do like to party. I have never met anyone in my life who parties as hard or
That's true.
consistent as Mason Sayer.
Yeah. The key to
Mason was-
partying is to never stop, and so you just
It's
never
true.
stop.
It's so true. I've
My
seen Mason be dead tired, hit a pocket of energy in his body, like he moved weird, unleashes like a small thing of adrenaline, and he becomes a different person. for, like,
I literally call it artificial energy, and it's what I do is, you know how exhaustion points work in Dungeons and Dragons,
hit me with it.
where it's like every time you don't take a full rest, you take another point of exhaustion, and if you hit 7, you die. I just used those. And so I'm like that one class of barbarian that can use exhaustion points to basically exist forever.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mason, can we talk for a second? You good?
No,
Not kidding.
I haven't completed a long rest in years.
Years. He's an elf. I don't have to sleep.
I believe
My
it.
nerdy thing this week is this little bad boy. And for our audio listeners, this is my new gaming PC. And it is beautiful. The only piece of RGB is the 3080 graphics card,
Frames, then.
which
No
is
RGB. Frames.
the 3080 is like the second best graphics card on the market. And it's only theoretically worse than the next better one, which is the 3090. There's the TI
By, like,
versions.
worse by
but those
10?
are- Worse by like theoretical.
Theoretical time.
But yeah, I don't know what that means.
I
I'm
don't
not gonna
either.
lie to you.
Just made
Okay.
that up. That's on me. That's on me.
But yeah, so that's my thing. Hopefully there's no lag in this week's episode if you're watching visually. I can't say anything for my internet. We still have point-to-point internet, so it can cut out at any time if it feels like it did at the beginning of this episode.
There you go.
No, it didn't. What are you talking
No,
about?
it didn't. It certainly did
Definitely
not.
didn't.
We don't have technical issues on this podcast. Are you
No,
kidding me?
not at
Yeah,
all.
not a chance.
My other nerdy thing also is that this week alone I've put 24 hours into Watch Dogs Legions and beat it. And
Hey, I
enjoyed
had
it.
fun with that game.
I thoroughly enjoyed that game. Ratings are
I
really
gotta
good.
add that to the list.
Yeah. If you haven't played any
It's
Watch
also a
Dogs
great
game,
squad up game.
yeah. Watch Dogs 1, 2, and Legions. Watch Dogs 1 is
Yo.
obviously my favorite, but
Question, boys, is it's on Xbox, obviously, right?
Sure.
You can squat up, right?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
What if we squatted up one night?
Is it
I'd have to
cross-platform?
dust some dust off because
I have an Xbox.
there's some character creation element to this third person shooter that I enjoyed until it felt like it got over my head. I'm the kind of guy who needs a little bit of help. Like, hey, what's
Okay,
the best option here? So it's a lot of fun. I ended up trying to just like blow stuff up and carry a big gun.
Like that.
What I like to do is throw my head at a brick wall until it works in terms of games like this, where it's like I don't customize my character. I just go hard in stealth
that.
or just whatever character I have on hand. So
Yeah,
I like where your head's at.
Speaking of liking where your head's at. Nope, I got no segment. So,
dude. You can head over to our Patreon page.
You can
Oh,
head over to our
nice.
you can head over to our Patreon page if you think we're just funny enough to throw some support at. We've got a few different avenues. Hey, we're on Spotify. You might be listening that way. We're on YouTube. You might be watching that way. We're on Patreon. You might be actually listening or watching that way. We also have some other rewards and some fun things there. We're trying to see what we can do with this. Again, if you just want to support us in that way, we will be super grateful to you. So far, not gonna lie, moment of transparency. No subs, no members.
Okay.
But that's okay, because we're here to talk about nerdy things, try to make them easy and applicable and easy to explain to people who might not have heard of them before. And I want to give a couple shout outs this week, actually, to a few people, because I think one of our goals was hit, but I'll get to that in a minute. First of all, I don't know if you have seen any of our content. We got this little gold backpack, right? This little gold backpack that's kind of like our logo. It's kind of the Journeyman logo. Yep. You can find our pod under the Journeyman Studios channel. That was actually drawn by my friend Rissa, and she'll probably never hear this because she might. She's a solid nerd, but she's got a company called Wheat Penny Provisions. She's an amazing artist. She drew this backpack. She's on the gram as Rizzo, the Atomic Fireball, and her website is wheatpennyprovisions.com. She's an amazing artist, and she drew the backpack. I never shouted that out, and I felt bad for a while. So shout out to her. Shout out to my friend Jalen, who is a barista at Wild Rose Coffee in Granville, Michigan, who said, "Oh, a podcast? Send it to me. I'll listen to it." And then he did. So shout out to him.
Dude, can I give a shout out to somebody like that too?
Do it.
My boy Braxton from Fresh Coast. Braxton, I don't know if you're gonna. I know Braxton will listen to this. He plays video games and he's a nerd, but he's not like a D&D or Magic kind of nerd, which we kind of talk about a lot here, but we encompass all nerddom, right? And I told him about it, and I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of in this podcast. We talk about this stuff," and he goes, "Yo, hit me up with that. Like, I want to listen to it." And he listened to all 3 episodes in one day while we're working next to each other, and. So follow my boy Braxton. He's an up-and-coming hip-hop artist and makes super, super good music at B Hill on Spotify. But yeah, dude, he's a legit dude, and I appreciate you, bro. So yeah, dude.
Hey, I'm gonna do a shout out also.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Shout out section.
Thanks for listening, Thatcher Scott.
Dude, yes. My guy. My guy.
If you know the Wow Tap podcast at all, you know our one true fan is Thatcher Scott. And Thatcher has also listened to this podcast all the way through. Also, Thatcher's super awesome. He has a band, and his band is
Young Martian.
Young Martian. Thank you. Holy crap. I don't know. I forgot that for a sec. But yeah, Young Martian. They're on Spotify. Check them out. Good music.
Dude, he also recently just got an Instagram.
He wrote us the intro song. I'd play it.
If they want to, we'd play a Young Martian intro song. But he just recently got an Instagram, and I don't know how he's not Instagram famous too. The first thing. Second thing is, it's he's one of the funniest dudes I know. Like,
I just started following him.
He's legitness. I'll say it. I'll be that guy. I'll say it.
He is legit.
He followed me on Facebook and Instagram, and so I feel honored as a person. So thank you, Thatcher.
I like it. Final shout out I want to give. He's actually, if you listen to this, you are in my phone as my man Ethan Stiefel. That's your contact info because he's my man Ethan Stiefel. Ethan was like vibing on episode 2 so hard that he just like thought it was live and was just enjoying the content, so he's just started commenting in parts like he was in a chat live.
That's so cool.
So and I also want to say we're building a party. He's open to building a party because his second comment his first comment, where's his comment?
Love it.
So all right, Porter's going to cut this.
His daughter and what race or what class she might be.
My guy. Yes, I love that. That's so cool.
Somewhere in the internet,
that's so cool.
he's got that there, so I'll have to
Dude,
find it and make sure.
I want to say this. Let me say this real quick. What's his name again? What's his name? Ethan.
Steve.
Stiefel. Ethan Stiefel. You're invited to play in our. I'm gonna just make an executive decision. Our D&D stuff, though. I want to record in the future. For our one shots and things like that. I want more people to be in it. But Ethan, I think that's really cool. Just a quick update on story writing for the one shot. The theme in the setting is Kaldheim. If you're a magic nerd, it is Soulsborne, it is Lovecraftian, in the setting of Kaldheim. So
That's
just
sick.
be ready for that.
That's
Be ready
exciting.
for that.
So
Be ready for that.
It gets better, and I don't know if it was us. I don't know if it was just the universe, but he sent me this text the other day. This is yesterday, 5:45 p.m. All right, bro. ... Let's say I wanted to get into magic. Where would I start?
Oh, let's go.
No way.
My heart soared. I got a little bit. I wouldn't say I got in trouble, but the amount of text I sent him in response when I was supposed to be planning my wedding with my fiance, got me a little. The water got a little hot, But that was, split focus is a problem for me. But
Same.
welcome. I'm super excited. We have a lot to talk about. I'm glad
We
Ethan's
do.
a nerd.
We really do.
It's a great week to be a nerd. Let me tell you something. And again, this is not just about the fact that our Patreon is cool. They're not just about the fact that Spotify is where we're at, and it's not just about our YouTube channel. It's about being a nerd. It's about talking about nerdy stuff and enjoying ourselves. So here's what happened in the last week for some big names. Basically, we're going to break it down. We're going to try to hit a few things. Mason, in the back, yes.
I just want to really quickly, before we go into stuff that's not this podcast, I would like to say that sooner rather than later, maybe before this episode is released, this podcast may also be available on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music and Google Podcasts.
No way. Let's
clap it up. We're having a good time here. So here's what happened this week. Wizards, the company that what is that bug? That company that owns.
I just saw it fly off.
I don't know what that was.
This bug's like, don't worry, some maneuvers and listed lazily to the left.
It could just be a ghost. I don't know. Company, it owns Dungeons and Dragons. It owns Magic the Gathering. They were like, hey, we're going to drop a lot of content at you in one day, so buckle up. And I buckled up, and it didn't matter. It was a lot. So we're going to talk about a little bit today. I don't know what we're going to get to first. I say we pop into some of the big MTG stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many. I mean, yes, we talk about it all the time. Spoilers everywhere. But, Jared, can you talk a little bit about not just the spoilers for Dominaria United, which is the next set, but also like the calendar for the next year and a half they dropped. And it is...
It's
gas.
It's so spicy. It's gas. It's every bit of gas. It's premium, not unleaded. It's premium gas. Like, so let's just start with this really quick. Okay, so Dominaria United. We're going back to Dominaria for the third or fourth time, which for a lot of Magic fans or long-standing Magic fans, some of them have comments about it. I say deal with it. I love refreshing a setting. Why not? It's cool. Dominaria was a really cool set. I didn't really get a chance to play it when Dominaria first came out. It was before my time when I started. And then I played when Eldritch Moon started, and I stopped after Ixalan, and then Dominaria came out. So this is my first Dominaria set coming back to Magic that I really get to jump into. And the set looks nuts. It comes out September 9th. Okay. Go to scryfall.com. They have the full set at scryfall.com. If you don't use Scryfall, like, dude, they keep up on the spoilers. Like, I can't talk about an MTG website enough. They give updated pricings. They give, if you are a MTG finance person, they give graphs on finances and things like that. And it's just such a wealth of knowledge for MTG or Magic the Gathering. But the set looks nuts. I mean, it looks absolutely crazy. I just want to, I mean, dude, we're obviously heading into Phyrexian territory. We're heading back to Phyrexia, heading back to Phyrexians.
which is
Shieldred,
a
the
huge lore thing.
huge lore thing.
Just
Yeah.
one point I want to make. Magic the Gathering is a card game, but every set is telling its own story.
Yep.
So
A
there are
different plane of
specific
existence.
cards that are even called like what are they called, like story showcase or something like that, because they're
Yeah.
like telling the story in this set. So it's not just a bunch of random cool cards. Some of them they're reprints, but
Right.
they're telling a story with each set, and it all plays into the big universe of their story. So cards that like do one thing in this set are typically a continuation of previous sets.
I'm a huge fan as of recently of reading flavor text on cards. When I go look at a set, I will go through and read the flavor text. And there's lore YouTube videos you can get into if you are. There's like lore play styles where like you get points for a certain amount of lore in your deck, like in connections, which is really really cool. But I just want to hit one card, and I think it's really really broken as a commander. Shieldred the Apocalypse, dude. 2 and double black, legendary creature. She's a Phyrexian Praetor. She's one of the original Praetors. She's a 4/5 with Death Touch. Nuts. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Hold up. Wait a minute. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. That is broken. There's infinity combos. There's so many crazy legends, so many crazy cards in this set. The set looks bonkers. They didn't pull any punches when it comes to the set. It's going to be very powerful, in my opinion. And I think it's going to bring a lot of fun to Commander and Standard. I think it's going to bring a breath of fresh air that Standard and Commander kind of need. Following that is Magic's 30th anniversary, Magic 30. It's in Las Vegas. There's a whole bunch of events happening. It's October 28th through the 30th. I can't even begin to tell you. There's going to be guest stars. There's going to be releases. There's going to be Commander. There's going to be tournaments. There's going to be prizes. It's crazy. Their slogan is it's Magic, but we're getting back to the gathering. It's kind of corny, but
I like it.
it's clever. I know. It's as a dad, I'm like that's kind of cool.
Easy, but I like it.
Right. So this is MTG 2022. So this is what we're working through. Just kind of giving you guys a lowdown of this is what's happening this year. We're getting another Universes Beyond with a commander set for Warhammer 40K.
They own Warhammer?
No, they don't own Warhammer. They are doing like brand, like it's kind of like a brand deal.
Cool.
If that makes sense. I think it's really cool. There's like 9 spoilers on Scryfall. There is the commanders, the legendary cards for this set look amazing. The spoilers for this set, it's gonna be so much fun. They did a Soul Ring reprint that looks metal. Like it looks like a metal breakdown for the Soul Ring. Like these 2 Soul Rings. Like it just there's 3 Soul Rings. My bad. 4 Soul Rings. All these Soul Rings look amazing in this set. Dude, I'm geeking out of my mind over here over this stuff. And then finally, we're going to close out 2022 with Brothers War, which is kind of like the second story in Dominaria. It is Urza, and I should know this. People in the chat are like, Jared, you're dumb. It's Urza and his brother, and if you're in the lore of Dominaria, Urza is the Grand Artificer. His brother Mishra. Is it Mishra? I think it's Mishra. I might be wrong, but it is going to be a fun set. There's not really any spoilers on it yet, but it's something to kind of keep your eye on. I think, and then let's move to where the heat's at. This is where the heat comes in. MTG 2023. Okay, there's no release dates. They just kind of give quarters, like when this stuff is going to come out. So, for my MTG old school fans, we're going back to Phyrexia in the first quarter of 2023. Phyrexia All Will Be One is the name of the set.
Which is terrifying.
Elish Norn. If you know who Elish Norn is, creatures you control get +2/+2. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. Like Legendary Praetor. Like just some broken stuff. Dude,
It's sounding
It's-
wild. I don't know what
I was
any
gonna-
of this is, but when you say
it
their
is-
abilities, I get scared
That's
from
kind of where I'm at. 'Cause
my
I
things.
I don't know a ton about the lore.
Right.
It's fun to read flavor on cards. I like kind of playing cards, like the mechanics of it more than, and people will come for me for that.
Right.
But
Right.
I just like playing the card game, and it's a lot of fun.
Right. Dude, okay, so let me just get both of you. Let me give you just a quick
Yeah, give us
if
a
I can
rundown.
summarize Phyrexia in to you really quick. Phyrexia is like Mad Max on steroids.
Yikes.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Phyrexia is like body modification, gore. It's like just freaking metal fist to the sky. Like it's dope. Phyrexia is a lot of fun. Followed by the second quarter, which is the next set, is March of the Machine. I think it's kind of the final block in that, or one of the final blocks in that set. It's the epilogue of the events and the aftermath of Phyrexia All is One. It's got the fairy in it. I mean, if you're a blue-white fan, yay, Teferi, woohoo, he's a planeswalker. Yeah, it's cool. You can cast spells on your opponent's turn. Woohoo. As you can tell, I'm pretty salty about Teferi. Also, Teferi's protection has been cast on me far too many times.
I just sold at shout out to I think his name is Kyle in Colorado. Your card is on the way. Ship it out today.
You ship out of Teferi's
I-
protection?
I shipped out the Double Masters reprint of Borderless Foil. To Paris.
Nice. There you go. Hey,
Winning
making money moves.
Let's go.
All right. This is where things get controversial. Okay.
Okay.
MTG Advance. This is where things get controversial. Porter and I talked a little bit about this. We're going back to Eldraine. If a lot of people don't remember, but Eldraine, Throne of Eldraine was a set that came out a few years ago, and it plagued Standard because it was so overpowered.
Okay.
And it plagued Standard. Commander was a lot of fun, kind of a thing. Really broken. Green was nuts, right? We're going back to Eldraine in quarter 3, in the third quarter of 2023. It's called the Wilds of Eldraine. It is basically, if you don't know what Eldraine is, it is. I love Eldraine. I think Eldraine was one of the really cool sets. I think it's really sweet. It is a fairy tale based. Everything, any fairy tale you can think of was mixed into. There's Beauty and the Beast
that's
in the
cool.
last.
Thing.
There's Beauty and the Beast in the last one. There's so many cool things. There's a lot of fairy tales. We're going back to Eldraine and the Wilds of Eldraine, and I am nervous but excited.
Yep.
Rightfully so. I
As a-
would think.
As a little Timmy guy, little Timmy monsters, I'm just ready for some big monsters to come from that, big creatures. And then this, I want to talk to you boys about this. I want to talk about, just for a second, I'm on this really quick, okay?
Hit it.
In the fourth quarter of 2023, we're going back to Ixalan.
Now I know a little bit more about Ixalan.
I know.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. We can inform, but it's called the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Okay.
There are 3 factions fighting over islands: vampires, dinosaurs, and merfolk. So we're gonna get
That's it.
a lot of dinosaurs, a lot of vampires, and a lot of merfolk, which I'm okay with. I mean, vampires is like there's always
Right.
more vampires every set. We probably need
Right.
some more fun merfolk, and I think we need more fun dinosaurs because I like
Yeah.
dinosaurs, but I don't play any dinosaurs just because I can't find like a commander that I'm just like in love with. There are some fantastic dinosaur commanders.
I didn't know dinosaurs were cards.
Oh, you should.
Perfect.
Mason, you would love a dinosaur deck.
You would
I
love a dinosaur deck.
want a dinosaur deck now.
Dude, there's like Gishath, there's a whole bunch of other like dinosaur commanders. I agree. Like it's like I think the idea of playing as dinosaurs is really really cool. You just gotta get the right commander for you. Um, I stopped playing Magic for some years after Ixalan because I was really bored of it. Ixalan was used as a power down set a few years ago. The first Journey to Ixalan or the first Ixalan set was used as a power down set after Kaladesh and after Hour of Devastation and things like that. And Amonkhet in Aether Revolt. It was used as a power down set, so it was pretty like meh. It was very meh. Like it just was and I think they kind of knew that going into it that they had to power it down, so it wasn't going to be that fun. So I'm a little nervous, but I really, really think the art from it looks really, really good. And it just looks like a ton of fun. Seriously, like I'm excited for it and I'm nervous for it because, like we said, Merfolk need some help. I think Merfolk had been a tribe that's been missing from Standard and from Commander is kind of there. There's kind of some Merfolk stuff, but I think it could use some help.
And we're saying Merfolk like as a tribe needs help.
As a tribe,
like,
yes.
Obviously, like Thrasa, there are Thrasa cards that are competitive commander staples win by turn 5. I get that. What we're saying is like as a tribe for people who are especially new to Magic, just like building decks and they want to build a Merfolk tribal. There's not a lot of like recent options.
And let me tell you, Merfolk, their like main thing is they're unblockable. Am I correct? That's all I know. That's all I know about Merfolk. So just to dumb it down for all of you, Merfolk annoy the crap out of me.
It's fair. That's fair. I kind of when Mason first started Magic, I played against him with some Merfolk stuff that was unblockable, and it was kind of ruthless.
I was like, I don't know what to do here. This is my first time playing.
All right. And then it's just really cool. I think one, it's bold of Wizards, WotC, Wizard of the Coast, to go back to those two planes because both of those planes of existence for Wizards of the Coast were very controversial because obviously with Ixalan it was a really boring set. Both sets in the block were pretty boring. They really didn't help a lot. They really just was kind of like a bland standard. I kind of fell off of Magic for that. For a while, I came back during when did I come back to Magic? Was it Midnight Hunt? I think it was Midnight Hunt.
Maybe?
Or the set before Midnight Hunt.
It was definitely Midnight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember that vividly.
Yeah, for sure. But I missed a lot of sets, and then Eldraine, like that's a bold set to come back to. I think the Wizards is saying, "Hey, we would like a redo," and I think we're in for something here. I think they're like, you know what?
If you look past that, there's more redos coming.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Thank you for the transition. Coming in 2023 is Dominaria Remastered. There's already 6 spoilers out. Force of Will is being reprinted.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what Force of Will is. Let me just explain this to you. Force of Will is 3. It's an instant sorcery. It's a magic card.
Yeah.
3 and 2 blue. It's broken. You may pay 1 life and exile a blue card from your graveyard rather than paying the spell's mana cost, and you may counter a spell or counter a target spell.
It's a staple in a lot of competitive decks because it's close to as cheap of a counterspell as you can get. Not only does it get you out of a pinch, but there's just like you can just fake not having a counterspell, you know?
Yeah, because you can tap out, right? And then cast a spell. Force of Will right now for like the borderless, they're going for $400 or $445, $450. Like,
Jared, I need to stop you real quick. I just saw Porter's shirt.
What, this black flannel?
No.
What are you doing?
The other one.
This redemption trading card game shirt?
Oh my. I didn't even know you had that on. I had no idea. We talked for so long.
Adult large
think
blue,
I'm
the
not gonna
only
commit
one.
to the bit, you're insane. If you think I am not gonna click add to cart and follow through, this thing came in like 4 days.
I forgot about
no
that.
cap.
For those of you who are listening,
Watch
and
the
listen to
last
podcast
episode.
listen to the last episode or watch the last episode. We talked about
Oh my
Redemption
gosh.
is a Christian-based trading card game, and we went on their website and found out that they have one size T-shirt and one color. It's adult large blue, and our boy Porter bought one.
He came with free booster pack.
No.
We're gonna
crack this at the end. Don't even worry. I'm gonna
stick till the end.
Should we save it behind Patreon?
No, I want to give the people something juicy.
You gotta give
Let's give them something juicy. Let's crack it. Let's crack those.
Even without Patreon support, people are out there supporting us, and we appreciate it. Right. So we're gonna crack this at the end.
That's amazing.
So, Dominaria
Remastered. They're remastering the original Dominaria set, and dear God, that's so crazy. So there's other things, spoilers, but they're just remastering a set. I think that's really, really cool. It's not gonna be standard legal. It'll be Commander and things like that, modern legal. Which some of those cards need reprints, kind of bring some prices down and kind of make them more accessible. So MTG Finance guys are kind of probably pretty upset about that. But if you're basing your finances off some cardboard, I'm praying for you, son.
Well,
so
dang it, there goes my collection.
At least
finally, boys, let's jump to some universes beyond.
I just got chills.
I'm scared.
Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle Earth is a universe. It's a full set coming out in 2023. They haven't get a release date yet. We don't know what quarter is coming in, but it's 2023. Lord of the Rings is coming to Magic the Gathering, boys.
Let's go.
I am so freaking pumped about this because it's everything I've ever wanted.
Right.
In one place.
Right.
And I've checked out a little bit on it. The art, I think looks great. It doesn't look like it's inspired by the movies, which I'm actually like really happy for. Because like I don't think we need more like movie cinema content. It looks a lot more like, someone wrote or drew their version of Gandalf without thinking about actors and their version of like hobbits without thinking of like Frodo and Sam that have they seen as like, Elijah Wood. You know what I mean? So it's like it just looks so great.
Can't wait to build the Samwise deck. Yeah.
If they don't do the partner or best friends mechanic or whatever
they
want
should.
to call it.
Oh man, yeah.
They should. Oh my gosh. Dude, it'd be so good. Yeah, like you said, Lord of the Rings stands. This isn't the Amazon Prime show, so chill the heck out. It's way better than that. But yeah, no, it looks great. You told me, Porter, this, but a lot of the extended arts for the cards for the set will be able to put all together and create the Battle of Pelennor Fields as like a poster thing, like as card. I don't know. That's just really stinking cool. I think it's a really cool thing.
Yeah. And if you read it right from them, it's just beautiful. It says, plus some of the incredible artwork deserves more than just one card and expands to many more with new borderless scene cards that beautifully capture the story, such as Battle of Pelennor Fields outside of Gondor.
Yes.
Wow.
I think it's really cool. It's going to be a red day, a black day, when the red sun rises.
Amazing
for Magic the Gathering fans. Finally, for MTG, I don't know how hard this is going to hit for you guys. It doesn't really hit hard for me.
It might hit hard for me if I know what you're talking about.
It might hit hard pretty hard for you, Mason. Another Universe Beyond set. It's a full set. Doctor Who.
Let's go.
Doctor Who.
You know I'm making a full Doctor Who set. Let's go.
You have to. You have to.
Audio only people.
It's my boy. My boy right here. He's missing a foot.
fist pumping in the air, showing off his
Hey.
what is that? A Barbie? What is? I'm just kidding.
Step back.
Is that a Gundam?
Step back. Hands are going to be thrown.
Yeah. Is that a Gundam?
But yeah, Doctor Who. The art, they've kind of teased some art. It looks great.
beautiful.
I've seen a few episodes of Doctor Who. I've seen a season or two. I like it. I'm excited for it. I think it's really great. I like that they're kind of doing some really cool like sets for Unearthed Arcana or Universes Beyond. There's start going. Yeah, Mason.
Yeah, I was just gonna say So the reason I got into Magic is because they started doing Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Right.
The last few sets have been cool,
right.
but I'm not like inspired to get all these sets. Like I got the D&D too. Like both of those, I went full in. I got like all the cards that I wanted from each of those, and I was like, okay, cool. Magic's kind of like getting boring for me. And then the new Dungeons and Dragons set came out, and I got excited and played a little bit more then. And so like, this is so smart of them to do things like the Fortnite release and like the Street Fighter and all these different things, because it gets people excited about it.
Right.
And so I think doing that for like Doctor Who, especially for someone who's been like a
We're a
long time Whovian,
yeah,
that's so cool, because there are so many people that love Doctor Who, and there's so much in that universe. There's different aliens and all the different doctors and all the different adventures they've gone on. There's so much content there that is to be explored, and so I'm excited that they're doing that. I'm excited that they're doing Lord of the Rings. It is very exciting that Wizards is expanding, and I'm in love with that. And I don't know much about Magic, but I know about these things, and so that's how you get people involved.
Well,
exactly.
Here's the perfect example, or perfect reason why, because I actually had a little bit of shade when they did the Secret Lair Fortnite stuff. I was like, come on. That's lame. I'm not a 12-year-old. Like, I don't care about that. And then I have gone to a few events, and I'm getting whomped by the same,
battle bus
12 locals that just pull up to an LGS and just crush everyone. And then it kind of hit me. I was like, wait a minute. So like, if I don't want to play the same people every week, no matter what store I go to, more people are going to need to play Magic, right? These pools need to get bigger. They might not get bigger, just doing going back to Ixalan, but they might get bigger doing Doctor Who, doing Warhammer, doing Fortnite,
doing Lord of the Rings.
I
guarantee the play base is going to explode.
Yeah, it's like, again, a situation. It's like, hey, just because it's not marketed for you doesn't mean it's bad.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that.
For someone else.
Yep.
And now you can enjoy something together.
For those of you who are listening right now, Mason just pulled a blanket out. That is the TARDIS from Doctor Who. He's a massive Doctor Who fan. I love it. I love that they're doing this. I like that they're keeping a lot of those brand deals kind of things that are obviously just like kind of money grabs, which is fine. It's great. I'm not mad about that, right? They're kind of reskins of cards, like the Fortnite thing. Like, I saw that and I was like, okay, like it's cool, kind of cool. It's just for a secret layer kind of a thing. There's Street Fighter that's a secret layer. There's Stranger Things as a secret layer. There's Walking Dead as a secret layer. There's so many things that are just for those secret layers for those collectors and for those people who love those cards. But then they're doing these big, heavy hitter sets that are for like a ton of people, like Doctor Who and Lord of the Rings. I mean, Fortnite was an inevitable thing for Magic the Gathering. I mean, Mason just sent us in our group chat a week ago that you can now play some Destiny. Like, Destiny is now a part of Fortnite. Like, it's this all-consuming thing, and so it's an inevitable thing. It's Thanos, right? Exactly. So it's like, we'll just kind of take it for what it is. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with what you said and I had like a change of heart when it came to some, we talked about this last week. I was kind of iffy on some Marvel stuff that was coming out in phase 5 and 6 kind of a thing. And I had a change of heart this past week when I was watching She-Hulk, and I realized, I might not like this. It might not be for me, but it's for somebody else. And once I kind of had that mindset change, I began to really enjoy She-Hulk. I began to really enjoy Miss Marvel and things like that. I think I'm really excited about those things that I would thought were kind of mid, and so I retract that statement. And so yeah,
Wow, that's great of you.
It's big of you.
I have the same take and different result where I'm
Right.
not probably gonna watch She-Hulk just because
Right.
like I have a lot of things going on. It's probably fun, and even like Thor: Love and Thunder was not for. It might have been for me. It wasn't for like my roommates who aren't big like comedy movie fans.
Right.
Like they love to laugh, but they don't love their comedy mixed in with their MCU, and that's
Thunder Gods.
I loved it. I enjoyed the movie. It's a comedy.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, but
I mean, Kiki
it's a
Waititi
comedy
directed
with,
it, so
like,
you had to know it was going to be a comedy.
it is a comedy with a hard flex of a villain, like an over-the-top villain who did great. But like at the end of the day,
I haven't seen it yet.
played as a comedy. Well,
Which is wild because I
Isn't it?
love Marvel. I just
I think it's
haven't
actually
had
hitting
a
Disney
chance.
Plus, like super soon.
I know. I
think it's,
kind of
like,
want to go to
September
movie
8th.
theaters before it hits.
I don't want. I'd love to hear your take post because I laughed a lot and enjoyed myself, and then walked out and was. I didn't hate that movie, but it wasn't.
Right.
It was a comedy, which Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was going to be the vein they were going to work out their like comedy timing genre, but this felt like very funny, which is fine. Anyway, Magic Be Crazy, Doctor Who, overlaps, all this stuff, and they talked about a lot of that. Also, if you get the basics of Magic and you want to pull up with your friends and just play ridiculous versions of it, the Unfinity series in Magic is made for people who like
Oh
want
yeah.
to get wild and wacky with Magic. But that's like a whole nother pod for a whole nother time. Check out the Unfinity series.
It'd be a good podcast name too.
And you're right. And that would have been great if Wizards like stopped there with MTG.
They
Like,
didn't
wow,
though.
what a day. But they didn't. They went,
They shifted
hard.
into sixth gear and slammed the gas.
and the Dungeons and Dragons content and announcements they dropped, unfreaking
So good.
unbelievable, right? It's like it was the trend.
It's actually very believable.
It's so believable. It's just so fun.
It's so exciting.
And I've been reading through a lot of the stuff. First of all, they announced some big things, right? They announced, okay, so there's not going to be a 6th edition. We're just going to say it's D&D 1. Everything that is in D&D, and I made this joke to Jared, it's what we've been wanting 2K to do.
Right.
And not like, hey, we're just going to resell you the rules, but call them something different. But
Or
actually,
say
it's
the
like,
same
no,
game,
what
just respin it.
exists. We're just going to add to it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Love it. They're doing some things, and this is a little bit of back and forth. They would describe it as, in the video they drop, they say, there's a lot of different parties and different groups cobbling together different apps and different plugins and different things to make their online or in-person virtual, however they do it, experiences. Okay, let's bring that all together. And I think part of their first step towards that earlier was the acquisition of D&D and Beyond.
Yep.
But they're basically working on sort of a top-down in-game, like virtual tabletop model that you can use when you buy content that has dungeon maps in it. It'll include virtual copies of those things.
So cool.
It will give you like base dungeons that you can kind of tweak and move things around a little bit. Super cool. Which sounds like, oh, that could be a dumpster fire if it's not done well. If
Right.
you're a nerd, they're using Unreal Engine, which is, if you're building a video game, that's the tool you use. And so I was really happy to see that detail, because it was like, okay, so at least they're swinging with something there, and not just like, yeah, we got Frank. Frank said he could design a video game, so.
Hey, he's using Google SketchUp and Microsoft Paint to make this happen.
You know what's funny? You know what's hilarious? How we were just talking about Fortnite just like owning everything. Unreal Engine is owned by Epic Games. Next, we're seeing Bob and Fortnite.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm joking.
it's totally true. It's like this is
Yeah.
where you start seeing like, oh wait, so you're scratching my back and I'm scratching yours, like these little pockets
Yeah,
pop
Right.
up, right?
I know that was
Things
happening
are teaming up
because
you
it's like
know?
a program you can buy, but like still, that's very, very cool. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Tailspire is an app that currently does the dungeon building, where you can build dungeons, you can put players in it, and then they can move their own characters around in that area. It's hard to run on like weaker computers. So what I'm hoping for D&D to do is that their program is very fluid and it's very easy to run on like easier computers. And they talked about that during the thing of like they're gonna have like that top down view and it's not gonna be like super intense. Like they want you to be looking at a battle map. It's not like this crazy intense thing.
Yeah.
And the minis don't look like real people. They look like
Minis.
real minis. Does that make sense? They
Right.
don't look like they look like I've got unpainted little turtle here.
The PLA plastic.
They look like this. They don't look like
Is that Master
animate,
Oogway?
they're not breathing. They're by the time I'm done with them, I have a character named Bart. Basically, he's Master Oogway, but with spells. So super fun to play.
Love it.
But it's a lot of like, hey, we're bringing D&D into the 21st century, and instead of like just licensing things out and losing money in pockets, because it's a business decision, they're a business. They're saying let's start doing all this stuff in house.
Right.
We're selling shiny cardboard over here for $150 a pop. I think we can afford to invest in some of this here too. So cool.
I think it's really cool. I think one thing we could talk about is some rule changes some rule changes. I think that's kind of like they're obviously okay. Let's preface this really quick with when it comes to rule changes for D&D. D&D or Dungeons and Dragons is a very fluid system. It is up to you and your play group. There is always a conversation between the players and DM of, do we want to include this? Do we want to do this? Do we want to add this? So you do not have to use any of this stuff. Let's just all take a breath. A lot of people who are pretty salty about this stuff. I was pretty salty about some things when I heard it, and then I realized, oh wait, I don't have to use this, but also I can share my feedback. If this bothers you, share your feedback. They are asking, WotC, Wizard of the Coast, is asking you to share your feedback on these new rules, on these new changes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, you can play test these new rules if you go to D&D Beyond. There's a page there. You can click on it. You can download all the current things that they have updated. There's just a few feats and stuff in there, some character, race, and class updates. Go check them out. They're really cool. I think we're going to check some of them out. We're going to talk about a few of them right now. But yeah, you can go play test yourself.
And add it to your some people call it rule 0 or turn 0 if it's MTG, or session 0 conversations, basically the first one, right? My DM Tuesday night came to us and said, hey, I'm going to start implementing one of the new inspiration ways to do inspiration, which is really cool. We'll get to that in a second, because I really like it. I think it's really valuable. And then we had a conversation, and I knew a little bit more than some of the other guys in the group particularly, and I said, guys, here's the thing, like, don't come after our DM if you don't like it. Give him like honest feedback, because he's going to submit that as part of his playtest experience as a DM. We can't just grumble, complain, and not do anything. Like, if you don't like how some of this rule plays out for your character, just shoot him a message. He doesn't necessarily mean we're changing the rules right then, but just shoot him a message, let him know, hey, I didn't like that when that happened, and then be done with it. So when he takes his analysis and he submits content back to Wizards of the Coast, he can say, my players hated it when he did this, and they hated it every time.
Right.
Those conversations are okay.
Yeah.
Have those conversations.
We just had one of those conversations before we started recording. Facing my DM, who's co-hosting this podcast.
What's up?
I just had a moment where I just was like, you know what? Hey, I haven't been enjoying this, but I'm also sorry about this. Like, it's not your fault. Like, and it just comes down to having adult conversations about your feelings and about the game. You know?
Yes, talk about your feelings. It's super manly, and
Yeah, dude.
we're all men here. But some of the rule changes for this first packet are really fun and interesting. One, I will hit on like some big ones. I encourage you to look it up. I'll try to provide a link to it in the show notes. But the first thing they're talking about is origin. Origins are basically how you build your character. What they're trying to do is they're trying to add value, like statistic value, in-game value to your backstory. So if your backstory is a bodybuilder or a workaholic or a construction worker, for lack of a better term, there's going to be backgrounds that allow you to tweak your character in a way that makes sense for him to play out his abilities. I'm going to read one example of the backgrounds because I think there's a lot of race things that you should check out, but the backgrounds I think are one of the more like completely different parts of things. Let me just read you. There's a background that has to do with basically being like a laborer. Yep, the background is a laborer. So what these backgrounds will do is instead of like because you're a dwarf, you get these racial bonuses. It's more so because your background, you'll get some specific buffs here. I'll read you the laborer when it says. Laborer, ability scores, you get +2 to your constitution, +1 to strength. You're skill proficient in athletics and survival. You're tool proficient in mason's tools. You know the additional language of dwarvish, and you have the feat of tough. Now, feats are also going to be a little bit different. You're going to start like being able to kind of like level up your feat, it looks like. And feat gets better as it goes by instead of like one kind of okay thing that is only really good for maybe like levels 8 through 12 and then kind of sucks after that.
I mean, because tough, when you get the feat tough, it doesn't level up with you in 5e. It stays like, so if you got tough at level 5, you gain 10 extra hit points and it just stays that way. It doesn't level up with you. Like, you just get 10 extra hit points and that's it. Like, whereas you got feat at level 15, you get like 40 extra hit points, you know?
Yeah, and that looks really cool. And it's got like more, it adds to your backstory. It's got a description. Your apprenticeship consumed the better part of your youth. First, you learned to cut and polish stone. After several years of polishing stones, you learned how to cement those stones into a wall. After several years of building walls, you learned to join your walls to form a structure. The structures you built were exceptionally durable. The masons who taught you were taught by even older masons who were taught by dwarf artisans. That's why you know dwarvish. Okay, cool. If you flash back to some of the benefits of knowing languages when you're picking your race, there's going to be benefits to knowing a language as well.
That's so cool.
So they're starting to give you in-game abilities and reward you for coming up with a cool backstory. If you aren't the creative, because some people are like, I hate that. Let me just roll a dice. Cool, do it. Roll a dice. You're a hermit. Your character was a hermit and has these additional abilities, these additional traits. You're done,
dude. It's like you just said, like they're like, wow, like Wizards of the Coast is like, hey, we know backstory and backgrounds and all that can be a little difficult. / backgrounds in 5e really didn't do much besides giving you some proficiencies in them, some skills.
Yep.
Maybe giving you a tool proficiency and a language or instrument, whatever.
Yeah, and as of recently, more ability scores too.
Right, ability scores, kind of thing like that. But other than that, that's been it, you know? And I think, like, they're like, hey, we're going to throw you a freaking bone here. Let us help you write a backstory. If that's something, like, some people do not struggle with writing a backstory. Like, it's an easy thing. I'm in the middle of the road of writing backstories. I literally played a twin, so I wouldn't have to write my backstory. I let my other twin in the game write the backstory for us. But they're like, yeah, hey, we'll give you a whole bunch of stuff. We'll give you a whole bunch of details. They are literally, I just talked to one of my co-players today, or like yesterday and today, about how can we add more depth to his character?
Yep.
And like this is the stuff. Like this is exactly. I was a little cold on this in the beginning, but as I talked to Porter, I realized as I'm a character creator, I love creating characters. So if I'm not playing video games or Magic the Gathering or whatever, I'm playing D&D, I'm on D&D Beyond doing if this then that stuff on their character builder sheet. Like Mason can attend to the characters that I build, and I am in love with this. If you're a character builder, this is just more tools, more
Yep.
things to play with. Like
More exactly, and they're
I'm,
diverse.
yeah. I'm so excited to play with this in our campaign. I can't wait to play test it in our Sirens campaign that Mason's running, and things like that. But yeah, shoot, man.
Yeah. I should actually ask our group if we want to just imply this stuff now.
You
Right.
should.
I should.
You know, it's a
'Cause we
PDF
should play
you can
test.
download. I shared it with the guys in our show notes as a
Right.
PDF. You just download, read through it. Feats are different too, not like the feat your Hobbit, but
Yeah.
they are gonna kind of like level up, and kind of allow you to have a feat early, which as you're leveling up a character, you get to your opportunity. You get to these milestones where you can say, "Hey, do I want to level up Do I want more intelligence or constitution, or do I want to pick a feat instead?" You can't have both. This allows you to like kind of get cool feats and keep them,
Yeah.
and still, especially with your background, start buffing your character early. And they're cool. They're cool. The big one, and this will be, I'm just going to read this verbatim. Rolling a 20 on attack strikes. This is
Yes.
on this. Rolling a 20. If you roll a 20 on the D20, test automatically succeeds, regardless of any modifiers to the roll, which isn't always the case in everyone's table. A lot of people you'll hear in D&D say this, and I've used it. A natural 20 means the best possible outcome. It doesn't mean
Success.
the heavens open and you kill the dragon by winking at it. You know what I mean? If you say,
Yeah.
I want to wink at the dragon so he likes me and we become friends and roll a nat 20, the best possible outcome for that is
He doesn't
he's
attack
stunned
you
for
first.
0.5 seconds before he eats you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
So they do say rolling a d20 doesn't bypass limitations on the test, such as range, line of sight, blah, blah, blah. But still, you're not seducing the dragon with a wink. Sorry. Mason, were you saying something?
yeah, I was just gonna say, in terms of like when we said D20 test before, there's 3 different checks. It's ability checks, which are like that list of like abilities that you have, attack rolls, and also saving throws. And so like if it's those 3, that's a D20 test. And that's a new rule that they added just to like, it's a new language basically. Like if you're playing Magic the Gathering, like sometimes they say a word and that like replaces like a whole list of text. So D20 text is just roll. D20 test is just all of those things. Those 3 things, if that happens, you roll an at 20, then it succeeds like automatically. And I know like in Critical Role sometimes because the rules in 5e aren't that, it's sometimes like, oh, you gotta like beat the like AC or DC of it still. It's like, well, this is this. But that's kind of like table, once again, you can decide what you want to play with. And they covered that where it's like just an addition of 5e rules.
I
think- Yeah.
sorry, go ahead, Jared.
This is kind of a privilege for us D&D players in this era of D&D. I want to preface this. We're in the middle of a massive transition in D&D.
True.
Like, this is like a 4th edition to 5th edition transition. Like, this is we're transitioning into
I like it.
exactly. We're transitioning into a new era of D&D, and like this is like I just kind of feel honored and excited to be a part of this, and to that like I can share my feelings on this, and my voice will be heard. My voice matters when it comes to building this new era of D&D. And if you're sitting in the background of like, but what about 5th edition, which was me about a week ago, I'm so glad I changed my mindset on this because it's like, Dude, this is so sick. We're playing our Sirens campaign, which we should, as a half-off apps or a Patreon thing, do a little breakdown of our Sirens campaign or something like that, and do a breakdown of Porter your guys' campaign.
I'd
That'd be
down.
fun.
I'm like looking at these sample backgrounds. I'm like, oh, the Acolyte background makes sense for my character, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, that'd be sweet. Like, I'm like over here, like as we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, I could add this because like, if you stop limiting yourself as a player to, oh, I need to have 5e, it needs to have these constraints on it, right? Stay play 5e. There's people who are still playing third edition.
Mm-hmm.
There's people still playing first edition. God help you. You know, like if your team gets TPK'd by House Cat and you're into it, freaking sweet, dude. Like that's your jam. Do not harsh other people's vibes. Like, do not do that. Like, I feel like that. Like, I just want to preface that. Like, we can get really gatekeepy really fast. D&D is based around creativity, based around fun, and based around rolling dice.
I do feel like maybe as they were starting to put some of this material again together,
Yeah.
even the people who work there, they sat down and said, "Hey, what are like the 5 best homebrew rules you have?
Right.
Let's talk about them." Because there's that, and then inspiration is going to be different. Bardic Inspiration is a spell in D&D that allows bards to add dice roll to maybe a check or something that their friend does, so they can give out inspiration like that. This kind of opens that up a little bit, and I'm just gonna kind of read it to you again. And if you're a nerd, you're like, yes, please read it word for word, and don't try to do it in yours because you're confusing Nathan, and that's fine. If you hate this, I'm sorry. We have fun and we enjoy it, so buckle up. When you have inspiration, you can spend it to give yourself advantage on a D20 test. You must decide to do so before rolling the die. Gaining inspiration. The main way a character gains inspiration is by rolling a 20 for a D20 test. So when you crit, not only does that, if you're rolling on damage, the damage is doubled, but you get inspiration. You did a cool thing. You're feeling good. You hit that. When a basketball player's hot and they hit a 3, they might come down and hit another 3. The DM can also award inspiration to a character who's done something that's particularly heroic or amusing. So if you say, I just want to give this incredible speech, and you do that, and instead of it being like a charisma check that kind of just fails or whatever, you could still do that. But your DM can also say, hey, because you did that, or because you slayed that monster, or because you one-shot that henchman, you get inspiration.
Which is super exciting.
Yeah.
It's very fun as a
so
DM to be able to like rules don't say you can't do that, and so like sometimes that will happen, but like it's so cool that they're implementing like DM inspiration of like give it out. Because the cool thing about inspiration also is you can save that. Like even if it's given to you, you don't have to use it on that roll. You can save it until your next long rest, which is where it goes away.
Yeah, and thanks for hopping in, Mason. I got a little frog right.
I saw that.
I think it's cool. It's just another cool way to like reward your players for having fun, being creative. Hey, can I run off the roof, fly through the air, do a backflip, and try to just like slice his head off? Yeah, here's inspiration. Give that a shot instead of just like the do it with advantage because I think that's cool. It's like
roll me an
go
acrobatics check and an athletics check. It's like, no, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Can we
the
talk
other big
about
change? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Can we talk about crits?
Yeah, that's a huge one. Crits, weapons and unarmed strikes have special feature for players' critical hits. And the reason it kind of has a small paragraph after that is because it is not including spells. So you can crit on things you're punching or hitting or shooting, but that's it. Spells go away, which is interesting, but also if you're DM and like your warlocks are like critting on Eldritch Blast, and you're like,
Written
cool,
on
my big bad is like on death's door after the first round. That kind of sucks.
right.
I kind of get it.
Crit on a meteor strike.
Yeah.
That's not how that works, but it happened and it was awesome.
I just did it better.
Yeah. So I get it. Okay. This is my stance on this. With the crits, DMs can't crit any more monsters, right? Can't crit anymore.
Yeah, that's another big one. So DMs monsters can't crit on players anymore, according to this.
Right.
That's not happening for me.
Yeah, no. So I want to preface this. Divine Smites can't crit anymore, right?
I believe so as well. Yep.
That as a paladin main is one of the most. I felt like I went through a breakup when I heard that. Like, I was like, "There's no way," because like that. I don't know. Okay. Critting, rolling a natural 20, like that is like some of the essence of D&D in my opinion. And to preface this, this is my opinion. This is how I feel about it. This is something that I have to communicate to my DM, and like this is a conversation you need to have with your play group about these new rules. These are
Yep.
not set in stone. Share your feelings with Wizards of the Coast. They want to
Yep.
hear them.
They're gonna get an email once a week from Jerad saying, "Let my
Let my
smite crit.
let my smite
Please. Please, because it barely ever happens.
And if you agree, put it in the comments of this YouTube
Yeah.
video. Say, let my
Right.
smite crit.
Let my smite crit.
We
Let
want
me
all
crit
the
somebody. Literally in our battle royale last week, somebody crit my partner who was playing a kid. They crit a kid. Like, but I just like there's some things that like critical hits are the essence of D&D. Don't play with them.
Mhm.
Like, I just was like that out of everything that they shared, WotC shared in this new D&D 1 was the only thing I disagreed with. I was like, man, I'm kind of salty about it. I'm a little salty about it. Like, I was, and then also, right, not letting DMs crit.
Yeah.
If I can crit a monster, they can crit me. Like,
Yeah. So that's 100%, Jared. And if I'm a DM, the only time I get to play is when I'm like the villains I've made. Like if I
Right.
don't care if a monster. I honestly couldn't care less if I'm throwing some dire wolves up at my boys and my wolves can't crit. Whatever. They're not there to win. But if I worked hard building and developing a big bad evil guy or a BBEG,
nice.
that he's critting. I worked hard to make him a personality, to
Right.
give him abilities,
Right.
to maybe homebrew him from scratch. If he rolls a nat 20, your butt is toast. I
Yeah.
am destroying your head. And
It's-
that's never going to change for me. I do kind of see it a little bit on some of the things. It's like, especially at low levels, you know, you're a barbarian, you maybe get one attack, you crit, you do like, wow, I crit, natural 20, awesome. Hit him for, after it's all said and done, 9 damage. Whoa. And then your boys come in with spells and they're like, oh, crit. I hit him for 27 damage. And you're like, yeah, we're a team.
Right.
9.
Right. And so this is also like what it comes down to, like when you're playing, it's having conversations. Like,
Yep.
if you are that barbarian and that happens to you, talk to your DM. Be like, hey, I saw the crit that they had. They did 3 times as much damage as I did. I know I can't keep up because they're spellcasters. What can we do?
Yeah.
Like, just so I can experience that. Because when you hit that nat 20, when you roll that dice as a DM or as a player and you look down, in my lifetime, I've only rolled one double nat 20.
I've never
Where
done
you
it.
rolled 2 dice and they're both nat 20s.
Disadvantage
It's like
nat 20.
hitting your belly button. Like
That was wild.
it's nuts.
What?
It's nuts, right? I don't want to take that away from DMs. I think it kind of creates, and like as a DM also, like maybe it doesn't do a ton of damage on the nat 20, like right? Like if you're like, oh, I don't really want to kill my character here, or maybe killing a character is what you need to do to kind of bring some depth to a story or kind of get your players to make some different decisions, you know, and like where you have to knock a player, like that nat 20 is key for those things, you know.
I agree.
So I'm going to say really quickly, as a longtime DM, as a DM
you're not
main,
quite a forever DM, but you're a long time DM.
I'm a DM main for sure. You know, everyone has their classes. I main DMing. If I were to play with a group that had never played D&D before, these rules here would probably be my go-to, with spells not critting, with DM not critting, just because, like, as a DM, I want my players to have so much fun. And so, like, even if, like, I can't crit, I'll just, like, roll behind my screen and say, oh, you get hit for maximum damage. You know what I mean? Because, like, all I want to do as a DM is just, like, make it the most fun for my players, and I enjoy that so much. And so, like, I don't care as much if I don't crit. I'll just max out damage if I'm just like, oh, they need a little smacking up. And and if your players don't know, then it's still just as fun. Jared, stop listening. If your players don't know, it's still just as fun.
Dude, trust me. I know you, and I know when this happens, and I never question it because it creates depth. It creates intensity.
Yeah.
Like, don't question your DM. Like, shut the heck up.
I also haven't. Like, in terms of attacking and rolling, I think it's so much more fun to let it play out. Like, when you are DMing, this is just a quick aside really quick. When you're DMing,
let's go for it.
If you're confident enough in your ability of, like, improv and, like, storytelling, this is something I had to learn the hard way, which might be like a half off ep type thing. But, like, I had my first time ever DMing, we were really close to the end of the campaign. They went off trail, entirely off course, and I was like, well, now I don't know what to do. And so what you need to be able to do as a DM is let your roles lie and figure out. Just let it go. Just be like, oh man, this player, this, like, NPC that I needed to have alive to push the story forward just died. What happens now? My players had to go on the run. They raided a castle. They killed the king, which ended up being, like, a false king anyways, but the rest of the city didn't know that, and so they had to go on the run. They had to go to an entirely different country, which I designed in a week, and that's when I started learning how to DM. Was that oh no, I don't know what to do, I have to create this. Like, suddenly, boom, you're on a boat, you're traveling, you're going to this different country, here's all these different places, here's, like, I don't know what to do, I just got to throw something together. Beach dwarfs, you know, you got mountain dwarfs, you got hill dwarfs, and you got beach dwarfs, all wearing Hawaiian shirts. They are tanned out of all heck, and they are the chillest people you've ever met. You know, all the dwarfs who are like, oh, I'm grizzly and I don't care about everyone. These dwarfs are like, welcome to our village. Here's a lei. Hang out for a little bit. And it's just like, sometimes you gotta
pulled pork sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you just gotta take the hits and go with the flow. And so that's a little tangent. I just wanted to go on there for a second.
Let me tell you a little something about the DM. I work for a church, and they probably thought I was crazy when this happened. We interviewed a gentleman for a position in our church. I rolled in as a test with my critical role, like that long sleeve.
I
think it's
the tunic.
Not quite the tunic, but it's just a long sleeve shirt, and it's very subtle nerd flex. And the gentleman says, "Is that the shirt from Critical Role?" And I was like, "Okay,
we're hiring you."
But then, because of that, I said, "So, what was your very first character build?" Because that says a lot about somebody. And
Right.
he replied with, "I've actually never played. When we got into it, we needed a DM, so I said I would DM. The guy's never played Dungeons and Dragons in his
Wow.
entire
I'd
life.
hire him on the
And
spot.
here's right then I
Wow.
made a decision and I said, and I tried to describe it to my fellow on church staff coworkers why to me that was the biggest green flag of his personality. And I said, because he's okay with not playing the game and creating space for everyone else to play. That's what he
100%.
committed to. And he
100%.
said, I won't even play. I'll put lots or little preparation into something every week
Right.
and it'll be good, but I won't play. I'll let them play. And when I put that together, I was like, whether or not we hire this guy, I don't know, like, what God has in store
What
for
qualifications he has?
but let me tell you something. He's a win in my book. He's a
Right.
great person because he said, you know what? I won't play. I'll let everyone else play. And I was like,
Right.
if that's some people and they're wired like that. My DM Ethan was like, I really like Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't have anyone to play with. I'll just be the DM, and he's been the DM. I think we're on 6 years,
Right.
on and off, but same
Wow.
campaign, same characters. Just a slog, average 300 XP a session. It's slog, but it is fun.
Right.
And yeah, man, it is
Yeah.
a good thing when DMs do that. And actually,
Yeah.
segue into they are reprinting some of the basic things like the Dungeons Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook, changing some terminology and reframing
Oh,
it
good.
to be more entry level,
Nice.
like aimed at people who are playing for the first time.
That's
Oh,
cool.
so
Brilliant.
smart. Oh
I
my
think that's super
gosh.
brilliant.
I didn't know they were doing that. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that's so cool.
I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. I think it's also exciting, like these changes, because it's like a great time to get in. Because like,
Yeah.
if you're new to D&D or like all this
Right.
stuff, like actually the last few years have been a great time to get in. Critical Role,
Right.
everyone's so welcoming, but like that point of like they're making it easier for new people. Like
Right.
Mhm.
if you're looking to play Dungeons and Dragons, you're gonna have to DM. You know, like that's what you got to do, and then you got to ask people. You got to be like, "Hey, you want to play D&D?" And they're like, "Sure, I've never done it, but I would love to." Like I got that from every single person that I started playing with. Like my first
Yep.
group, I was like, "What do you guys think D&D?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we just started watching Critical Role, and we think it's kind of fun." I was like, "Perfect, let's do it." And so like that's all you have to do, and then you just got to like figure out the rules, and it's okay if you don't know the
Yep.
rules. Make your own rules up. Say roll the die. Literally my first session of D&D, I was at school. All I had was a D20 that my friend gave me. That's it. I handed around in a circle to the 3 people that I was playing with, and I entirely made up every single thing that happened as they went. I was like, your arm starts on fire and you slash through their body and you have like this sick flaming arm sword. And then this other player was like, I want to fly with my hat. And I was like, roll a d20. And it was like, oh, you got a 17? Sure. Your hat sprouts like fans and you start flying upwards. And like, if you want to get in, just do it. Like, it's so much fun. Just take that like creativeness that you lost from childhood and just send it. Do it. And
Dude,
that's my
so
portion.
smart.
Just
Seriously, like
do it.
I seriously think, like I said, I reiterate, we're in this awesome era of D&D where things are changing.
Mhm.
For those people who are hardcore rules lawyers, right? And like again, like if this isn't for you, you don't have to use it. This is just purely based on creativity. Homebrew is a thing for a reason, you know. I mean, one of my things that I've always loved about homebrew and as a paladin main is I've really, really wanted to build my own paladin subclass. You know, Mason and I have talked about this in length of what can we do and how can we make this like doable and things like that. And um, I just think like again, like it's built around creativity. It's built around getting a group of people together. A cool story is like there's this kid that I work with named Carson, and he's like 14 or 15, He's a legit kid, kind of thing, kind of keeps to himself, and saw that I was talking to my brother, who I work with, about D&D, and he walked up to me afterward, like a little bit later, and goes, "Hey, do you play D&D?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I play every Tuesday. Like, it's like for me, it's like such a release for creativity and like time spent with like my friends and like things like that." And I was like, "I love it." And he goes, "I want to play D&D. Can I join you?" And I was like, "Well, like it's different. Like you got like obviously you got to safeguard the people you play with, obviously." But I was like, "If you want to play, like you start DMing. You ask people like, 'Hey, I'll DM this if you show up,' kind of a thing." And I didn't even know that they were freaking rewriting. I'm gonna tell him this tomorrow because he works tomorrow. I'm his manager, but I'm gonna tell him like, "Yo, they're rewriting the Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook for new people like you,
Yep.
so it's easier to understand." Like that is such a stinking home run, and this kid is so excited. By the way, I was telling him about we did Spelljammers one shot, and he lost his mind about some of the stuff we were doing, and I was like, he's like, "So do I have to follow a book? Like if I choose like a book?" I was like, "No, you don't gotta follow anything. You can pull bits and pieces. Like, dude, you can do Treasure Planet in a Lord of the Rings setting. I don't care. Like, dude, I was yeah. And so he's been telling me what about the stuff he's writing, and it's just so cool seeing this next generation of D&D players come up and like being so creative. And so I think we just have this privileged state of D&D right now.
Yeah.
And if you got a problem with it, go play 3rd edition or 1st edition.
Go play.
Kind of a thing.
Or don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it. Just enjoy it.
Go play different games because we hate you and we don't you want in our store.
Gatekeep the crap out of it. No, but keep playing your game. This doesn't
Actually, what
affect
you really want to go play is Marvel Heroescape or whatever that.
Hey,
Don't come in here ever again.
actually, that game's really cool.
It is.
How dare you have your own opinions?
Okay, so we've talked about the changes coming up from 1. But
Yep.
did we talk about how they're ending 5e? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
What do you mean?
All of the books coming up. We have
Oh yeah.
so many new books coming out next year.
I didn't know this.
It is
Yeah.
an insane schedule. First of all, coming
Lay
up
on me.
this year, December 6th, we have Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, which is a whole new book,
This looks crazy.
new races, subclass, crazy stuff coming out. The coolest part that I'm most excited about is, 1, if you order it, you will get both the physical copy and everything in D&D Beyond. Starting this year, next book, that's happening. Straight up.
What?
Very exciting. Look up Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. There is some crazy stuff.
Yeah, no.
And we smelled this as soon as they acquired D&D Beyond.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
We were like, oh, this is. Hopefully, you'll be able to get both and not have to like buy a physical copy and then purchase a digital copy. So,
Yep.
Thank you, Wizards, for that.
Yep. So we're getting new backgrounds. We get new sorcerer subclass. And it's all about lunar and like moon magic, which is super cool. And then that whole sighting about or whole setting of Dragonlance, which I don't know anything about, but it's from some older editions, and it's all about Dragon Wars, basically. Super cool thing is if you order the deluxe edition, you actually get a board game with it, like a whole board game that comes with minis and like a battle map for this board game. It's like cards, super cool. So yeah, Dragonlance coming out soon, December. That is going to be both physical and digital editions, so order now. Super exciting. I've already got my
I
copy.
didn't know this. I'm
And the
losing my mind right
The
now.
alt art hardcover.
Oh, it's very
Which-
cool.
Ooh.
Jared, I know you're excited about one book coming out, but let me talk about the 2023 release schedule here. And unless
Hit me.
Porter, do you
Hit
want
me.
this? Because I still got my video games to go if you want.
No, hit this.
Cool.
Hit this. Hit this.
Hit me, dude. I'm like a freaking drug addict right now. Hit me, Pimp.
So, This
You said to do it.
you're getting hit. The beginning of next year, winter of next year, we have a book called Keys from the Golden Vault. 1. Spring,
Okay.
we have Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants. That book's coming out in spring.
What?
Summer, we're getting Fendelver campaign. Sorry,
Fendelver,
got
yeah.
it.
You're good. You nailed it.
It's just called Fendelver campaign, which is
That is a
very cool.
full-fledged campaign. That's
Fall.
sweet.
We're not only getting one book, we're getting 2 books. We're getting the Book of Many Things and Planescape. So much. If you want to know more information about it, there is so much that is covered in the direct, and you just got to go check some things out because,
You just gotta watch this bad boy.
yeah.
What?
And so the Deck of Many Things. That's like a thing
Yeah.
that it's like an offshoot thing that like content creators created. That's what the Book of Many Things is going to include, those spells from like those people, and like Deck of Many Things stuff too. And so it is so cool.
I didn't know this. I'm losing my mind right now. As like somebody who loves character creation, I am gripping my mic right now out of excitement. For
Yeah,
all
dude.
Of this. Holy cow!
It's kind of exciting.
What
so
a send off for 5e. Like seriously,
And
like I never
what they're-
thought.
And they built it in a way where it's like this is like a send off, but really it's just like
Yeah,
is part of
this is all going to get included in D&D 1,
Right.
which is like so exciting. All these books have to have like races and subclasses, and maybe like I could imagine like a new class to finish it all off. Speaking of which, in the document there's a new race. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, but there's a new planar race. It is so cool. There is so much stuff for D&D. It's just super exciting. So,
Jeepers, man.
yeah,
dude,
super
it's
fun.
sick.
Very excited. But yeah, that is
Watch if you like punch into YouTube, watch Wizards Presents,
Mhm.
and you're gonna get a lot of like everything we've talked about today. That thing is, it's a minute. You want to give yourself some time to watch it, but I'd recommend. Would recommend.
yeah, super good. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about D&D, or can I get to some
I mean,
video
that's
games
kinda
that were
everything.
released?
Yeah, there's some good video games that came out recently.
Heck yeah.
What are we doing? What are we looking at? We're probably at.
We're at an hour and a half.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
We got
We're
plenty
good.
of
We're
time.
good. We could play a game of Commander after this.
Stop. Don't tempt me. I will.
I know.
I can certainly try. I have one commander deck. Okay,
It's fine.
so there's a bunch of games. I think it's like, what? How many lines is this? There is so many games. In total, 46 games released in this last month that I know of.
Wow.
I'm gonna go through some of them. If you want the full list, it will once again be posted on the Patreon.
Yeah.
But just a few of them. We're just going to touch a few of them that I'm super excited about. There's one called Turbo Golf Racing. This is, imagine this little game called Rocket League, but golf. It is so cool. It is basically literally the exact idea of Rocket League, except you are getting the ball to the hole as fast as possible. So it's this online multiplayer where all these cars and all their individual balls spawn into this world, and then you have to race down the track. It doesn't matter your amounts of hits on it. It matters how fast you get it to the goal. And you're all in little race cars and you're hitting the balls around. Very cool. It looks very fun. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but it looks awesome.
He said, "Keep going. I have to run and poop, I think.
Nice. Jared gave us a little go-ahead sign for the podcast or audio listeners.
Oh yeah, audio only. Jared gave a thumbs up, like a keep going circle, and then ran away. Literally ran away.
He's no longer here. Come watch the VOD. It's fun. Okay. Next game we have is Cult of the Lamb, which is crazy. I don't know, Porter, have you heard of this game? People are raging about this game.
Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah. So it's a 2D kind of top-down kind of look of basically you're a lamb and you have died. But
Sad.
But this like demon thing is like, hey, I'll let you stay alive as long as you make a cult for me.
Huh.
Thusly, what you do is basically go into all these different dungeons, and it's a roguelike. So you go into a dungeon, you die, you come back to the surface, and the cool thing is you get new followers. You basically play like a Stardew Valley or like an Animal Crossing type where you have all of these followers. You make them do things like grow crops, go fishing, all this different stuff. And then you use the stuff that you acquire from them, like doing different like rituals and things, to then buff yourself to go into that dungeon again and fight through it again. And it seems, I haven't got a chance to play it, but people are loving it. It looks super fun. Cult of the Lamb. Very interesting. Little bit creepy.
Yep.
Very creepy, but it's like it's a cutesy pixel art or hand drawn, like very adorable, and then they like explode, and you're like, oh my gosh,
An adorable people.
yeah, it is very funny. Next super cool thing, Marvel Spider-Man is being released on PC.
Heck yeah.
Which is super cool.
I love that.
They recently
Congrats to that. Congrats to all of everyone who's ever worked on that video game.
Such a good
everyone.
video game. Sony
1,100 thumbs up.
and more. Sony has been recently porting things over to the PC. We got God of War a few months ago onto PC. Super awesome. That new game's coming out soon. We have Marvel's Spider-Man that just came out on PC. Very excited to play that. Jared's got his hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, just me in the back here, Teach.
Yeah.
So I grew up, I had an Xbox for a while growing up, but I mainly had a PlayStation for a long time, right? That's what I grew up with, is playing PlayStation throughout high school and junior high. I was like, PlayStation is better than Xbox. Your forehead's big, kind of thing. It got into that whole debate, and as I've grown into this porpoise of a human, I've realized that the debate is so meaningless as long as I can play video games with my friends.
There you go.
Got it.
And I love the direction things are heading with video games.
Little cross-platform.
I literally, in 5 years, I guarantee everything's going to be cross-platform.
Yep.
It should be. It literally should be. It just comes down to UI preference. If you like the user interface with a PlayStation, play with a PlayStation. If you like the user interface of an Xbox or how an Xbox plays, play with an Xbox. Yes, there's some graphical differences. Yes, there's some singles. I don't agree with game companies having this is the only Last of Us. Last of Us. People on Xbox should be playing they should have the opportunity to be blessed enough to play Last of Us.
So basically, what we're saying is everyone get a PC because everything's coming to PC.
Right, for sure. But I love that Spider-Man and Game of War, all of that's coming to PC. Even if you don't have enough money to put a car loan down on a PC,
It was more than a car loan.
But still, I just think the debate is meaningless nowadays, and let's just play video games together. Let's download this Discord app and let's play. I still have an Xbox.
Oh, dude!
Freaking
awesome update is Xbox is getting Discord voice chat.
Yep.
Oh, freaking sweet.
Yep.
Perfect.
And we're now just waiting on PlayStation, but Xbox is getting Discord voice app, which is really cool because cross-platform is coming to everything. And so like we need a program that like goes across it all. And so that's super exciting. Play games with us.
Games and let us play games.
I'm hitting snowball on everything except PlayStation. I'm witty remark now.
Just thought of this. Maybe it's a Patreon goal. Maybe it's just a
little game night.
There's this. I see a 1, and then there's 2, and then there's 3, but we need a 4th.
We do need a 4th.
We need a 4th. What games people want to play? We need a 4th.
Hey, you want to know a fun 4-player game?
Apex Legends, because we're actually got a full squad.
But I'm saying that could be a Patreon thing. Like if you get to a certain tier, you could be you're our 4th. You could be selected for our 4th.
Yep.
And we record it.
We're
and
bad at video games. You're gonna have to carry.
Yeah, if you want to carry.
Jared's pretty cracked at like COD, right?
I'm cracked at COD, but that's pretty much it.
I'm cracked at everything else except COD.
I'm not. So not only, you start subbing for stuff on Patreon. Not only are we still gonna play Redemption.
We're gonna play Redemption.
I gotta order my Redemption cards.
I'm not doing it until someone subs up that amount.
Hey, you want to know a fun 4-player game? Well, recently released this month is a game called Plate Up. If you've ever played, what's that other cooking one where it's like super chaotic and like things are on fire? Overcooked. If you've ever played Overcooked.
A normal day in my kitchen.
It is Overcooked, except it's a roguelike. So every time you start the game, every time you play the game, you unlock new stuff. And as you unlock new stuff, eventually, if you fail even a single order, boom, game over. You have to go back to the beginning. But when you go back to the beginning, you unlock new things, like new tables, new meals, new recipes, and all this different stuff. It's 4-player. It looks super fun. I would highly recommend it for any friend group. You can play with 1 to 4 players. So, like, if you want to play by yourself, it would be a fun roguelike. But
yes, I'll say yes, chef. Yes, chef.
But you can also design.
1 minute, chef.
You design the layout every time you finish a scalpel. Wait, knife. Sorry.
Plate it.
Plate up. But yeah, plate up. So every time.
Cold.
It's raw. Every time you finish a round, you'll like unlock. They'll be like, here's a few options. What do you want to choose? Oh, I want a new table. So you place a new table. You can choose how many chairs it has. Yeah, it's super fun. Maybe we should play it after this.
We should play
Yeah, super fun. And then finally, my thing that I'm most excited about is a little game called Backpack Hero, which is a inventory management game. Which might not sound fun to everyone.
Sounds like my nightmare. Like I not that it's a bad game, but like me, that is a stress point in most video games.
Yeah,
for me.
So the cool thing about Backpack Hero is you have your backpack and you go into this dungeon. That's it. I think you start with a few things, but basically as you defeat more enemies, you pick up more items, and then you have to figure out how either with your backpack upgrades, it may like have weird, like it's not just going to be fully square. It's certain slots, and you have to put things next to each other. So maybe you have your weapon, and so when you're fighting a creature, you will click on what you want to use in your backpack, and that'll do a different thing. You have maybe your sword there. Okay, your sword does maybe 1 damage. Well, what you want to do is upgrade it with an amulet. Well, you got to figure out how to get that amulet to sit next to your sword in your backpack. And then you start figuring out like, oh, I want my sword to do this, so I have to have these items sitting next to it, and I want my like staff to do these things, so I have to have these things next to it. So you're basically like fitting all these different items into your backpack to like make it all fit and like play this game where like you can do insanely powerful buffs and like get all these different like upgrades and things on your weapons. And there's some things that'll like, oh, if it's next to this, but if it's next to that, it'll decrease the ability. It looks super fun. It just came out. It was in early access for a long time. I would highly recommend it. It's very fun. So
that sounds so stressful. I just started playing through Unturned, which is like Minecraft meets DayZ. and it's all about inventory management, and it's so stressful. It's so stressful.
Well, this is a turn-based.
It's turn-based. Which
So
cool.
it's slow. It's a slower pace where it's like, okay, I gotta figure out how to get turn-based roguelike inventory management, which is not everyone's cup of tea, but for some reason it's mine.
So one listener out there, they're gonna be like, "Oh my god,
this is the greatest thing ever."
This is my
This is amazing.
Backpack Hero. So,
I like
those are the games that I wanted to cover. There's a bunch more, and yeah. So I would highly recommend you look at our Patreon for the full list.
Yeah, let's kick it. Let's kick it.
Let's kick it.
What an epi. What an epi here.
What a time to be alive.
Time. I have one final thing to say. That's like news related. Actually, two. That's a lot of what happened and what came out. One more thing that did happen. TCG Player.
Yeah.
Has been acquired by eBay. TCG
Whoa.
Player is trading card game player. They are a platform that you buy and sell trading cards like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic. eBay bought them, which is huge. Which also points back to not too long ago when TCG Player acquired 2 other trading card game platforms. Which, in my mind, if you're thinking of business, okay, so they bought things to increase value, which drove their value up. So when eBay came knocking, they were worth a lot more. So either they knew that was happening and made a smart move beforehand,
Right.
or just like are lucky, but interesting. So basically, the email you got if you like a TCG Player like seller or anything basically says, hey, nothing's really gonna change. Still gonna keep our employees. They're gonna have like eBay stock options now, so that's cool.
That is cool.
And our platform is gonna stay the same. We're just now entering a partnership with eBay. So interesting. I don't have a lot to say on that other than it's just kind of interesting. We'll see what kind of ripples it does to things like tournaments, and maybe they'll have a little bit more capital to work with when they do put tournaments on.
Right.
And the other thing is it's almost September already. It's not too far away.
Do you remember?
Right around the corner. Get ready to go watch Wakanda Forever. Because that movie's going to hit so hard.
It's going to slap.
It's going to slap.
I will say this also in my closing statement. For those of you who are hardcore, spiky, modern players or standard players and think Commander is a waste of time, give it a shot. Give it 2 or 3 shots. I gave it one shot, hated it. Yeah, Magic the Gathering here. Give it a shot. It is more relaxing and more fun than I thought it would be. I get to cast a ton of spells. I will lose or I will win. But as long as
3 out of the 4 times we played last time. Don't be lying to these people out here.
Just because I took Porter for everything he had doesn't mean I'm not bad at it. But I'm just saying, it's like, give it a shot. Buy a pre-con. If you're like, I don't even know how to begin to play Commander. If you are a modern player, you know what color combinations you like. There's a pre-con for every color combination out there.
Yep.
And there's beginner pre-cons, there's advanced pre-cons, and things like that. And pre-cons come with some heat.
In 2 weeks, we didn't talk about this. We skipped over this on accident. In 2 weeks, first
so much to talk about.
5 color Commander approved Planeswalker.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa, that's kind of cool.
I was gonna say the 5-color pre-con there was the Dragon, but the Planeswalker Commander 5-color is it. And by the way, the Commander name is Jerad.
He's in it.
Which is your name.
I'm buying it, by the way. I may or may not have already pre-ordered it.
That's amazing.
Self-respect.
I'll
let you know.
That's awesome.
Give it a shot. Have some fun with it. Also, adjust with the times. Stop being a caveman.
Yeah.
That's my closing 2 cents.
I'll say to counter that, if you're a Commander player, standard rotates. So that is also coming up. build a standard deck. It might not be the meta. Give it a shot. Go get your butt kicked at some modern or some standard Magic and play more Magic. Get packs for participating. Why the heck not? I am looking to do that. I've got like a decently bad, pretty much like every time I do a draft event, the Riveteers New Capenna draft event, the Riveteers deck I wish I could draft is basically just what I built. So I was like, I wish I had this card every time I sit down and drafted, and I never do. And I just go for it and get my butt kicked. So it's a decent. It's not great, and it's not terrible.
I will say this. As a spiky modern and standard player that's transitioning to commander or is fully transitioned to commander, it is much easier for somebody who is commander and is wanting to get into modern or standard. It is much easier to build a standard or modern deck.
Yep.
It is so easy.
Cards.
Yeah, less cards, less management. It is so much. It's a ton of fun.
Basically
I love
trying
it.
to do the same 5 or 6 things every time you sit down and play. Whereas commander, you're probably doing like maybe 1 or 2 around your commander, or maybe you have like a deck full of win cons. I don't know. But I think maybe the actual point is just like play more than one play style.
Right, give it a shot.
Same for D&D. Build more than one type of character.
Try Pathfinder. Do what you want.
Same for video games. Play more than first-person shooters. For the love of all things.
Yeah.
Play them all.
Sorry.
Mason.
But yeah, dude. I like seriously, like when it comes to switching to play styles, I think from being such a hardcore modern or standard style player, right? Modern doesn't rotate. Standard does. Commander doesn't rotate. Kind of a thing. And going back and forth
that
between
rotation is actually coming up here soon with this next set, the standard
That's true.
rotation. Will nix a lot of like Kaldheim, Strixhaven.
First thing, my timer has stopped. I think we might have broken it. It says we're still recording, but it's just stuck at 1 hour and 41 minutes. So hopefully we're still recording.
Sick.
Right.
But to touch on the point of change up what you play, there are so many good RPGs out there. Tabletop RPGs.
Many.
Some of my favorite, we have Moss Ritter, which is another inventory management, but it's physical. Like you have little coins and things that you have to fit into like a little board in your thing, and like you're a mouse with like 2 hit points.
Board games.
Very fun. This game is called Dot Adventure.
I need to buy that.
It's a very cool game, based all on like basically like think of it of like World of Warcraft. The entire thing is you are playing a person playing a video game, and it's very fun. The entire thing is like your character doesn't die. Your summer just gets shorter whenever your character dies. And so that game ends when your summer ends, which is like really like makes me think of like my childhood of like that's the end of the game.
My life was over day 1 of school. Let me tell you.
100%.
Let me tell you something.
I couldn't just stay up every night playing
the
video games.
anime Summer Wars, but yeah.
And then you assign your dice to your abilities rather than all of your abilities working off a D20. You're like, oh, I want my better ability to be like strength, so I'm going to give it a D20. Whereas like my worst ability is intelligence, so I'll give that my D4. And so every time you're doing contested rolls against the world of like, oh, the world, its strength is like a D12, so I'm going to roll my D12, and then you have to beat that. Super cool game. I also picked up Call of Cthulhu recently. Haven't got a chance to play it.
It's so bad.
Very fun. I've seen a few people play it, and it's just the mechanics seem super awesome. And finally, Star Wars Edge of the Empire.
Yep.
Just a bunch of cool games. Check them out. If D&D is not your play style, check these different things out, and maybe I'll come back with more updates on like RPGs that are fun to play. Kids on Bikes. Super cool.
So good.
Based entirely.
At the end of the day, all we want to do is show and tell anyone who watches or listens to this podcast how fun these things are, and try to gateway drug you into all of them, because misery loves company, and we need a fourth.
We need more people to spend ridiculous amount of money like we do.
Especially on Redemption. You guys ready? Should I crack this pack?
We are now on Amazon Music.
Let's go. We're now on Amazon Music.
Oh,
Soon to be on
Yo.
Apple and Google.
I can do a shout out really quick. By the way, for different art. Speaking of RPGs and different RPG styles,
Do it.
give my boy Grant Howitt a peek. He's on Twitter. He's at his own website, kind of a thing. He specializes in one-page RPGs.
Interesting.
Oh,
So stinking good. He did Honey Heist. There is a Warhammer 40K. There's so many stinking one-page army RPGs by him that are so stinking good. If you're like, yo, I'm struggling to figure out as a DM what I should do for this next session, yuck one of those free one-page RPGs by Grant Howitt.
Yeah, you
which
can
is
just
a
Google them.
masterful game designer and should be paid to do such. Like, go follow him, go support him. Like, seriously, serious, so
Super
good.
cool.
So good.
I'm here for it.
All right. Finish
Crack
this off
pack.
with that crack pack of
All right,
redemption.
so actually have a
Whoa,
top-down
what a
camera.
Spotify listeners and maybe Amazon Music listeners, soon to be Apple Music and everything else. Check on out the YouTube because you're not gonna be able to tell what we're doing, but we're gonna try to walk you through everything that's going on here.
Yeah. Dude,
So this
what a
is
crack
also
pack.
the lucky way to crack a pack is slowly here at the bottom. Okay. So this is how you so this is the top here. You actually start at the bottom.
Yep.
Yep,
Slowly open this up right here. This is where because the luck of a pack actually escapes out the top.
Right.
So you got to make
Always.
sure you get hit with it.
You want to keep the luck in
Magic
there
player
as
knows
long as possible. Now, to be fair, I couldn't tell you what a good card would be. Right in the face.
Yeah,
But I'm here to-
get a $120 card.
I'm here to look it up as soon as it hits, though.
So we should
Yeah.
be good. So this is actually the hardest pack I've ever had to open. All right, so there we go. So this is the Priest's booster pack.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
Contains 10 limited edition cards. So here
You have to do
cards
4 to the
here.
front like Pokemon.
I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea.
I'm so excited for this.
Day of Atonement. Also, I don't know what
Okay.
this means up here in
Ooh.
the corner. Like, I don't know what the rarity is.
We're experiencing this with you.
Yeah, we have no idea what's happening. Looks like Day of Atonement is a pike. Oh my gosh! What is that?
What does that say?
It's called Angel in the Path.
Whoa!
This angel is jacked.
Hit us up with that price real quick. Because that looks.
Whatever it is, it's a 5/5. I think
Okay.
the corner's kind of shimmery. It's kind of hard to tell. But we'll set that up there. We got Ahab's armor. Look at him
Okay.
riding that chariot. Kind of hard to see there. I'll try to do better. We got Abimaz. Was he a giant? Fun fact about these cards, they have the Bible reference on them.
That
Sort of
is
like
true.
flavor
That
text.
is very cool.
Now, Jonathan and Himaz, not Abimaz, stayed 2 Samuel 17:17. I digress. So we'll just set that there. Abimelech, priest of Nob. He's a 3/3. Lifelink and trample. No, just kidding.
Laughing a tramp.
Holy of Holies.
Wow, these card arts are great.
What?
Holy. I don't know what this is, but it's a 9/7.
Oh my gosh!
It's Babylonian forces, and it says
Whoa.
negate all special abilities on Red Brigade heroes.
That seems very specific.
Search, draw
Why
pile.
does it feel like we're opening banger after banger right now?
I hope we are. I sincerely hope that these are just all gas. Deafening Spirit. I think this means it's like a bad thing, like a bad guy, or like a curse or something. Blemished Sacrifices. Another like bad thing. The last card, Blessings for Obedience. So I have no idea what any of these cards are, what they mean, what they
No.
do. I did open the other pack I got.
Oh,
I do want
okay.
to show this to Jared because
Show us those
Jared,
bad ways off.
if you've ever used this card in a black foretell
Okay.
deck, Poison the Cup, right?
Yeah.
I want you to close your eyes
Yeah.
and think of that card in that image. This is called
Yeah.
Poison, and I swear, like the same art as Poison the Cup.
That's the exact art. That is the exact
It's
art.
pretty much this, but I think it kills things. But
I think it kills things.
Lance, Stone of Thebes, Silas, Ahab, submissiveness of Mary, swear,
It's just so sus.
swear,
It's just so.
and then
sus.
Judas Iscariot, and he seems like a big bad dude. He's a 6'6".
Wow.
I don't know what any of these
Wow.
cards do. I have no idea. All I know is this angel is jacked.
I cannot find the website where we figured out the prices of all these before, but that seems
worry.
hype.
I got you.
Perfect. Thank you. We should have posted
What
in
was
the
the
Discord.
card name?
This card is called Angel in the Path.
Yeah, Angel in the Path.
And this Babylonian Forces is a 9/7. So I feel like that's got to be good, right? I don't know.
They all seem amazing, and I'm so glad that this has happened, honestly.
I'm so glad that someone's going to sub to our Patreon and
Play with us.
play with us.
Yeah. It's amazing. We gotta hit up the redemption tournament whenever that happens.
I want
There's
to pull
this-
up with this jacked angel and do some work.
Yeah, dude, I'm in on that. It's so awesome. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Have you found the pricing?
We should probably think of something clever to sign off with because it's about that time. This has been the Table Talk podcast where we do our best to try to inform you about the cool things that we think are cool. Just three admittedly casual nerds just talking about the stuff that keeps us up past our bedtime. And thank you so much for joining us for episode 3. Again, shout out, special thank yous if you made it this far to our boys, Thatcher, Ethan Stiefel, just to name a few. Thank you so much for your listening support and
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's keep in touch. If you want to be a part of the Discord, reach out. You know, me and Jared played a couple games of Magic just via Discord the other night, and it was fantastic, and we'd love to play with you too. So let's hang out, let's have fun, let's do nerdy things. Any final thoughts, Mr. Mason?
Do things that make you happy. Play games. Do whatever you want. In terms of nerdomness.
There you go.
And
And listen to your mom.
and listen to your mom. That's a vital one too.
So vital.
Don't just buy whatever you want. Make sure you put some idea into the purchase and then buy whatever you want because you're going to anyways because you're a nerd and it happens and it's okay.
Yeah.
Just don't spend your life
It's
savings
okay,
on
yeah.
it.
Right.
And just remember, your
Angel
mom
in the
says-
Path costs 25 cents.
Perfect.
Rip.
Oh,
And that's the end.
it's been real.
And it's been real.